Hey, my fire signs, how are you? So, this is now your new moon reading in the sign of Gemini. Gemini. So, if you are of the element of fire, which is Leo, Sagittarius, Aries, this is your new moon reading. All right, my fire signs, let's get right into it. So, as always, I have pre-shuffled astrological energies that correlates with the energies of what we are dealing with today with this new moon in Gemini. And so, the first astrological energy does pertain to the sign itself of Gemini. It's about cross pollinate. And we're going to tap in and see what is or what area of you guys' life that is calling for you to cross pollinate, which simply means communication. Okay, and before we start, we are going to read a little bit about really what does that mean and how that applies for you under this new moon. Now, moving over, we come to the next astrological energy of the third house, because that is where Gemini rules, and it's about communication. So as you can see, that communication along with discernment is a very big focal message under this new moon. Communication is very important and needed under this full moon. And then we will close out with the planet Mercury, because Mercury rules Gemini, and it's about messages. So we're going to close out to see what will be the final messages that Spirit has for you fire signs. All right. So as always, know that just because it is a collective of you fire signs, you already know that not all of these aspects of these energies will resonate, because it may not be your story, which is okay. But only take the part that does resonate, and what doesn't, you leave the rest for your fellow fire signs. All right. So let us talk about, before we start, let us actually see what it means to cross pollinate, particularly with this new moon in Gemini. Okay, so Gemini asks us to weave a web of connections and build networks with humor in all forms of communication. Words at the heart of the issue you are facing, and not just any words, but real dialogue. If you feel tension in the situation, see what is blocking the lines of communication and open that aperture. Okay? And it says, the soul knows how to find itself back in equilibrium if we just let all parts communicate. Help the unexpected feelings, persons, and elements within the community be heard. Now, as I looked upon you guys' cards in the reading, I'm going to, in a moment, tap in when I get closer to that card. The soul knows how to find itself back in equilibrium if we just let all parts communicate. I am going to come back to that particular statement when I jump down to the clarifier, particularly for the Two of Cups and how that connects with what I just pointed out. So let's talk about the cards that have come out under cross-pollinate. What area do you guys need to cross-pollinate? Now, from the other two readings, it was with other people. With you guys, communication is needed for yourself, going within. That is right. We can communicate and have conversations with ourselves. So for you guys, everything pertains to communication that comes from within, internal, okay? Because we have here the High Priestess, a major arcana, another major, the Star, and we have the Six of Swords. This is the only card out of all the other cards that have come up that does show, maybe two other people or show more than one person, but this is just the action that you guys are going to take, or maybe have already started to take. So the Six of Swords in this reading, in this scenario, is an action that you guys are propelled or will be propelled to do under this new moon. Because with every other card that have come out, it has been one person, which lets me know that the energy for you fire signs is very much about the internal aspects of how you communicate with yourself. So let's get into it. So the High Priestess is an energy of just what it is in terms of knowing, feeling what feels right, going internal, knowing. It's asking for you to go within and to go and follow your intuition, right? A lot of times we are always urged to always feel what we feel, to trust what we feel. Because when we don't trust our intuition, we don't trust what we feel, we can become bombarded with a lot of unclarity when it comes to what it is that we want to do with our lives, when it comes to our personal experiences, when it comes to just life in general. We have to go with what feels right. So although I will say that you fire signs, I think out of all the other elements, you fire signs are actually the one that most people want in terms of your attitude and your bumptiousness, because you are fire, which means you are fire starters. You're always going after what you want. But that can mean that you're doing it every single day, 24 hours a day. You guys as well have your ups and downs. You have moments of brain fog. You have moments of being in limbo, right? It doesn't mean that you're always, ready to, you are not always riding on a spark of fire all the time. That you guys have your moments where sometimes life get the best of you. And so with that being said, it's calling for you with the high priestess. It's calling for you guys to, as the star is here showing up in your reading, the star is about manifesting, making your wishes, thinking about things that you want to bring into your life, how it is you want to see your life when it comes to your personal development, right? Because in my overview, if you didn't see it, in my overview, it speaks about being aware on a personal level the dangers of attempting over idealizing or attempting deception. And this is something that we can actually bring upon ourselves. So with the star here, it is showing that we need to believe that whatever it is that we see for ourselves, we have to believe in it. This is why the high priestess is here. So it's like, do you trust what it is that you believe? Do you trust that what it is that you're wishing upon in terms of your own personal development? Are you trusting what it is you feel? Because if you don't trust what it is you feel, the visions that you may see in the projected future may seem kind of long, kind of far out. It don't seem like close to you. But yet and still, you are bringing on self-conflict. You're bringing on internal, or creating, I should say, creating internal conflict within yourself. And under this new moon in Gemini, it's going to help you, or is urging you to put a stop to that and communicate. Not with other people or with other people, but within yourself. Having that own one-on-one type of conversation with yourself, talking to yourself. It helps. I talk to myself. But at the same time, don't feel that it's something crazy. It's something weird. No, it's going within. Having that internal. Going into that hermit mode, solitaire moment to really think, to bring balance, equilibrium for your mind, body, and soul, so that you can bring some sort of solid foundation to what it is that you see for yourself in the long run, if that makes sense, okay? And then we have the Six of Swords. This was the one that I said, even though you see other people here, but this is your action that you want to take. Or maybe you have already started to, but because this is a new moon projects, indicates new beginnings, right? So the Six of Swords is actually that. You are moving away from rough waters to calmer waters, but in this sense, you are pushing away anything that you have stuck in your head, in your mind, that you can't accomplish. Anything that you see that you haven't quite seen come to your fruition, manifestations, praying, things that you are praying for, you may be getting, actually, I would say, maybe a bit perturbed about the progress of seeing things come into your life. So the high priestess is saying, have faith, trust, right? Because as an intuitive, we have to trust what it is that we pick up, what we interpret, what it is, what messages comes through for us. We got to trust it. it's not time to doubt what it is that you want moving ahead. You have to be able to trust that journey that you have that starts from within, and to know that then you can materialize it, or at least initiate it to come to your material, um, world. You know what I'm trying to say. Right? So now let us jump down now and clarify these energies here. So to clarify that high priestess, we have the Two of Cups and the Four of Swords. So this is what I was saying. The Four of Swords is taking a rest, going within. When you take a rest, it's almost like being in solitaire. There's no one else there around you. You need to go take a rest, but it's also reflecting upon what it is that you want to see for yourselves in the projected future. The Two of Cups doesn't always pertain to a connection with people, but the Two of Cups does indicate some sort of soul connection. What about a connection within ourselves? Because the Two of Cups is an energy that represents two people having or being in a soul connection. It can also be a business type of energy or vibe, connecting with someone else. But we always tend to think that we can have a connection within ourselves. That's where it all begins, within ourselves. And sometimes we need to have that before we can connect with someone else, if that makes sense, right? So Two of Cups, having that soul connection with ourselves, and doing that will help us to bring whatever it is that we want to come to our fruition. Now remember earlier when I said I will come back to that statement, it says the soul knows how to find itself back in equilibrium. Because the Two of Cups is also like a foundation, something that is set to kind of be solid, but also balanced. I always kind of feel that this can also represent balance, equilibrium. And it says equilibrium if we just let all parts communicate. So again, it's taking us back to communicating with ourselves, right? Now, to clarify that star energy, we have the Two of Swords and the Eight of Wands. This is you guys' energy here. Excuse me. Wands represents the fire element. And wands always signify what? Some type of initiation, some type of movement. And that's representative of this energy of the Eight of Wands. It's also a speedy type of energy, but it also indicates communication. Sometimes it's communication from other people, another source, but this is communication within ourselves. So how ideal that this energy came out, or perfect in perfect timing, because again, it points to communication with ourselves and also being in you guys' element. So this was like one of the perfect cards to come out. But then we have the Two of Swords, which shows again, we don't want to block ourselves, because when we block our feelings or we block having that communication with ourselves, then we are not going to come close to seeing what it is that we have manifested for ourselves in the projected future. Anytime we block ourselves, there's no growth, there's no progress, and that takes you back to the Eight of Wands. We want to see growth. You guys want to see progress. You want to see movement. You don't want to see stagnancy. But if you keep yourself in this Two of Swords energy, that's where stagnancy comes into play, right? And you guys got it going on too much to have stagnancy, because your energy is so fiery. So you can't do that. But that just lets you know that life happens to all of us, even to fire signs, right? Because that's a part of life. But it's one of those things where when it gets us down, do we stay down? Do we get conflicted so much that we lose sight of where we want to go, right? We just need to pick ourselves up, have faith, believe in what it is, and then we will see progress. Progress like the Six of Swords, moving away from inner turmoil, inner thoughts that we keep stuck in. You have to let that go. And you will have the support with this new moon in Gemini. Now, to clarify the Six of Swords, we have here the Eight of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands. This is you guys' energy again. So you see, you guys are going back to what you know that you have. You know you have an innate feeling to know that at any time you have what it takes to start anew, to go ahead and just begin something that you're passionate toward. But again, you have to do the inner work, right? You have to put the work in internally to see something sprout out, right? Because you can see this wand, it's sprouting out these leaves, right? Because like I said, you're in your element. So you have what it takes. But sometimes you allow the internal thoughts to kind of get you stuck a little bit. So you got to come out of that Two of Swords energy and work as you come out of that, and as you work on yourself, then you can start to see the Eight of Wands energy as well. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. And then now, let's move over to that third house energy about communication. And the cards that come out for that was the Eight of Pentacles. Eight of Coins is equate to the Eight of Pentacles. The King of Cups. And a major arcana of the Hanged Man. So this is what I'm saying. It's okay if you guys are in limbo, because the Hanged Man is an energy of being in limbo. It's reflecting, taking a break. It's kind of looking at things from a different perspective to see, okay, if this doesn't work, or if I have been having this type of attitude or approaching the way I look at things from this perspective, then now it's time for me to, like that Ace of Wands, it's time for me to look at things from a different perspective, try something new that can help me to get closer to what it is that I'm looking to pertaining to the projected future. So the hangman is okay. We all can, get into a hangman type of energy. Sometimes we do need to take that break, right? Now we have the Eight of Pentacles and we have that King of Cups. So the Eight of Pentacles, again, is putting in the work. Putting in that self type of work that we need to work on ourselves, our issues. Whatever it is that we feel is blocking us, we need to work on that, right? And then at the same time, the King of Cups is, I feel that I picked up that sometimes you love yourself one moment and you hate yourself another moment. It's like you're back and forth. Because the King of Cups, it deals with lots of emotions, but it can also be emotions that is unstable, back and forth. So it's like, man, I love this. Or if it's not yourself, you might be looking at something and saying, I thought I liked this. I thought I loved this, but you're changing your mind. You're kind of like just back and forth. So you have to kind of think about what it is. Focus on something that it is that you're striving upon. Don't get distracted thinking about other things that you might want to, work on. Focus on that one wand that's going to bring you focus and stability, a foundation. Because sometimes when we have too many things that we are juggling, it can throw us off track as well, right? Now, to clarify the King of Cups, we have the Seven of Swords and we have the Justice. So it's just saying, do yourself justice, my fire signs, my Aries, my Leo, my Sagittarius. Do yourself justice and stop running away from your internal issues, right? Whatever that may be, however that may look for you, you would know how that will resonate. And you would know what internal issue that you might have been trying to run away from. Let this new moon in Gemini help you to communicate, to be truthful to yourself, and to be kind to yourself, right? Because justice is about balance. It's about balance. It's about being true, right? It's about bringing equilibrium to yourself. And the way you can do that is by communicating with yourself. You, yourself, and you. That's how you're going to be able to do that. And now to clarify that hangman energy, we have another energy that's coming out representing the strength card, which is Leo. So for some of you, you might be dealing with this because this is Leo's energy. But overall, this is about, regardless of you being Leo, Sag, or Aries, that it's time for you to bring that courage, to take on that bravery type of attitude to go after, to stay on track, and to know that you have the confidence, you have what it takes. And then we have the Three of Cups. Three of Cups is celebrating, not with other people, celebrating yourself. How about that? We all need to celebrate ourselves, but also kind of looking at what we have come from, what we have accomplished, what we have achieved. Celebrate your accomplishments thus far, but don't stop. Continue to celebrate what you have and what you're going to continue to bring to yourself as well. It's okay that we celebrate ourselves. There's nothing wrong, right? We don't need for other people to celebrate or to validate for us. We can do that for ourselves, but we got to trust and believe that we are worthy for it, right? Okay, now as we close out, we go to that last energy of messages in terms of what messages does the energy of Mercury have pertaining to this Gemini new moon. What messages, what are the final messages for you fire signs? And the final messages that came out was the Four of Swords, which came out earlier as well, and the Nine of Swords. So you guys have been, and then along with the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is what you are going to look toward, achieve. So with both of these swords energies, swords is energies that are hard on yourselves, right? It could be other people that can bring us swords, but sometimes we can be our own enemy to bring our own self headaches, pain, sleepless nights, because we are up over idealizing, overthinking about things, right? We need to be good to ourselves, right? We need to pour into ourselves a little bit more, and to take things at a pace. It's no rush, but to figure things out, right? That hangman energy is figuring things out from a different perspective. It's needed. And then once we're able to come out of this worry and to come out of this break, because the Four of Swords is taking a rest, taking that break, like that hangman, just taking that pause. Once we come out of that limbo, that limbotic state, if you will, if that's such a word, but I just felt like I needed to just put it out there like that. Once we come out of that limbotic state of mind, after we have communicated with ourselves, then and only then we will, that you guys will be in that Ace of Cups energy. And this is a chalice. This is like a main chalice. That chalice is you. You are the one that will pour into yourselves, and you need to focus on you, loving you, but also taking the necessary action to self-reflect. And may this new moon in Gemini help you guys to pour and love into yourselves, because then when you do that, then you will be able then to connect with other people on a soul connection. But the soul connection initiates with yourself first. All right, my fire signs, I hope this reading was helpful. If it was, send some fire to that thumbs button to give me a like. As well, throw some feedback into the comment section to let me know if this did resonate with you. And until the next moon phase reading, everyone, I'm wishing all of you a wonderful Sunday evening. Peace, love, and light. Namaste.